Okay. Page 344, Mahasatipatthana Sutta, Sutta number 22, section 5, the Four Noble Truths. Again, monks. A monk abides contemplating mind objects as mind objects in respect of the Four Noble Truths. How does he do so? Here, a monk knows as it really is. This is suffering. He knows as it really is. This is the origin of suffering. He knows as it really is. This is the cessation of suffering. He knows as it really is. This is the way of practice leading to the cessation of suffering. You've done this before. What is suffering? Tell me. Stuck in that constant repeated thought in the mind. Constant. This itself is dukkha. There is dukkha. Simple. Noble truth number 1. Yes, nobody can deny it. Yeah, whether it is a king or a pauper, whether it is the most successful person or the most unsuccessful person, the most talented person, the most untalented, absolute dumbo. Any and every person goes through this suffering. There is suffering. Now, second, what is the second truth? There is a cause for suffering, or there is an origin for suffering. What is that? Craving in the mind is the origin for suffering. Craving also means aversion. Any aversion has craving hidden behind it. जितना मन में राग है उतना मन में द्वेष. जितना मन में द्वेष है उतना मन में क्लेश. How much craving is there in you? That much only aversion is there in equal proportion, because they are two sides of the same coin. And how much aversion is there in you, that much suffering is there. What is the third noble truth? There is a cessation for this suffering. What is it? How will the suffering cease? Correct. When I drop this craving and aversion, this suffering will cease. What is the short method that you learn to do it? Relax the meninges, smile. You have no other way but to cut the cord. No other way. You've tried everything else. Everything else which is sound related suppresses it. Anything that is controlled, manipulated, suppresses craving and aversion. What will happen? After some time it will come back. Yeah? Only facing it, going in front of the fear and saying, okay, I am right here, do what you want to do with me. Facing it in silence, being with that fear, that anger, that hatred, whatever your hindrances, facing it and going through it, that is the only way to go to the other side. And going through it how? I don't want it. That's how you go through it. You go through it. I am here. I'm going to just relax and smile and sink into this. Let it envelop me from every side. You've noticed, no, it doesn't stop at one thought or one emotion. It tries to just drown you. He'll give up now. Now he'll forget to smile. Now he'll forget to relax, and I'll catch him. It's waiting. And you just relax. You sink into it. Yeah? When you come on a longer retreat, the stronger sanskaras come up. the bigger emotions, because you're going deeper and deeper, no, as you progress through the days. So the strongest emotions come towards the middle or the end, and they just engulf you. And you stay put. I just relax into it rather than become stiff. When you become stiff, it's a reaction. I don't want it. Yeah. The moment you react, it's going to push back more. More you push, it pushes back. You'll only play this game. What is the wise one's way? He just relaxes into it. He says, I give up before you want to do anything. I only give up. Sure, relax. I'm not interested in fighting. You fight alone. Can it fight alone? Can anybody fight alone? Go wah, 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 wah. It dies down. Didn't it happen to your thought? I just make it dramatic. But you see it happening, right? It then dies down. It loses its power because you've just relaxed into it. You've given up. I quit the drama, boss. I am not a part of this. I quit. That quitting, that giving up, that struggle relaxes, and then you sink into it. This is cessation of that craving. You get it? But always remember, how many seeds I have sown, they will all sprout. The intelligent thing to do when it sprouts and comes up, not react. Otherwise, I create more. Oh, this happened, then she said this, then I did this. This should have not happened, blah, blah, blah. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes are lost in the story. You see? Yeah? Then you've sown more seeds. Now it's going to come again. Is this very clear? And he knows as it really is the way of practice leading to the cessation of suffering. Yeah? Or magga, the path leading to the cessation of suffering. What is the path? The Eightfold Path. You've done it. Tell me, what are the three main sections of the Eightfold Path? Shila, Samadhi and Panya. Shila was what? Purity, maintaining your purity, your wholesomeness. That's what you've been doing for so many months. That's what your full vows and your semester one was. Yes, all the suttas were on purity. Did you notice? Yeah, that was Shila, morality. And what are the specific steps he has mentioned? What are the vows you should take? Wholesome speech, sammavacha, or right speech. Wholesome, right, same thing. Yeah. Next, sammakamanta, wholesome action. And the third, samma ajiva, the wholesome livelihood. I'm sure all of your livelihood is wholesome. Nothing to worry on that part. So one done. So easy, no? Yeah. The other two you have to keep working on. Speech and action. So you will know if your speech and action was not pure before coming to the retreat, your meditation was not deep enough during the retreat. It is directly proportional. And you test it out. These 8 months, you keep very, very strict wholesomeness. And you see what happens on the May retreat. And then you compare your experience with this retreat. You yourself come to this conclusion by your experience here. That by wholesomeness, I really go into quiet mind very easily and attain samadhi. With unwholesome mind, I could barely sit for an hour. Yeah? You come to your own conclusion, your own understanding by experimenting. Second is samadhi. So samadhi also has 3 sections. What is the first one? Samma vayama. What is vayama? Effort, wholesome effort or right effort. You did that, what was right effort? Yeah, okay, but the steps of right effort, do we remember? Correct. This is the definition in the book. Prevent the arising of unarisen, unwholesome. Yeah. So when you're mindful, I stay on my object of meditation, you're preventing any negative thing from arising. Yeah. You're very mindful. But if something arises, you recognize it. Yeah. Wait. It's just the recognition part is in the first one, number one. What is number two? The moment I see that unwholesome thing has come up, what do? I eliminate it. I weed it out. How? By relaxing. Yeah? No, a big smile has not come. Just by relaxing. Just by relaxing. This is step number 2. Yeah? What is step number 3? Now I substitute it with a wholesome one. Yeah? A wholesome that has not yet arisen, I bring up that wholesome. What will you bring up? Easiest is smile, no? You start analyzing, what should I bring? What wholesome? Finish, you're gone. Easy? Smile. It's the most wholesome thing, easy thing that I know. Got it? And what is the fourth? Whatever wholesome I have, I maintain it. Stay there. Mindful, stay there. Keep repeating, relax, smile. Keep repeating, stay there. Consistent effort. Clear? So when there's wholesome effort, very easily you will go into mindfulness. Your mindfulness will become steady, and a point will come when you will not lose your mindfulness at all. One full sitting, whether it's 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, it doesn't matter. You'll have consistent mindfulness. There won't be a moment where you lose mindfulness if your effort is consistent. Yeah, and with consistent effort and consistent mindfulness, samadhi will be cakewalk for you. Yeah, so make it easy for yourself by practicing. Yeah. Third is panya. Panya is insight. Insight means my own knowledge. Swabhava jnana, my own knowledge. That is insight. What comes first? Sammadhitti, the right view. It is a product of samadhi. Yeah, like she was doing a great meditation and she came up with what insight? Do you remember? In meditation, I can do it at Vijnana, but with open eyes, I have to go to Vedana because I see it only at Vedana. I don't see it at Vijnana. How did this insight come to her? Yeah, because she's practicing. She's doing it so sincerely. The right view came up from the right samadhi, the right meditation. And she's not even gone into samadhi yet. So just by right effort and right mindfulness, yeah, just from there, she got her own insight. So sammadhitti, right view starts developing. You start seeing things very clearly. You understand them from experience. That brings in confidence. You get it? And once there is confidence, then there's no doubt. Yeah? So sammadhitti strengthens your resolve to continue, and you go deeper and deeper and deeper. And with that, only right thought or the right sankalpa comes up. Samma sankalpa. Yeah? Then you keep moving only in the right direction of wholesomeness. You stay away from unwholesome. You stay away from negativity. You stay away from fake. There's a lot of fake in the world. You notice it? People are so fake. Smiles are fake. Talking is fake. Everything around is so much fluff. Then you start seeing very clearly, this is fluff and this is the truth. The truth must be so much and the fluff is so much around it. And you learn to remove the fluff and just be with the truth. At every step you learn to remove the fluff and just be with the truth. Your intention becomes wholesome. You start moving in that direction automatically. You're not doing it. It starts happening to you. Yeah, so that's why I said you'll carve your own path. Have that faith. Your intuition will tell you what is the right thing to do. Trust your intuition. Starting now at least, trust your intuition. Provided you keep practicing the Satipatthana. Because you'll start getting purer and purer and non-reactive and non-reactive. The inner fluff will start dropping away. And that hurts sometimes. Because you held on to the fluff. You're understanding what I'm saying, fluff, no? You held on to the fakeness. You held on to the fluff thinking this is I, this is mine. This is me. This is my belief. And now that crumbles, the ego doesn't like it. What? I was doing something wrong for such a long time. And doesn't like it. It says, no, no. There must be some way. I want to hold on to the fluff. I want to hold on to the fake. And again, it starts crumbling because, it's not the truth. And you see it crumbling and it is painful. And go through that. Let the ego experience that growing pain. It's just a growing pain. When teeth were growing, it used to hurt, no? Remember when you were a kid? Yeah, it used to hurt. And you went through it. Why? Then you have good teeth now. Like that. Go through the growing pain. It's very natural. Yeah? The path will get carved for you. Automatically. The key is trust your intuition. Your intuition is your guide, your GPS. Okay. So we went through it quickly. So now I can read and you would know what it is. Okay. So now this sutta is more elaborate. And what, monks, is the noble truth of suffering? Birth is suffering. Aging is suffering. Death is suffering. Sorrow, lamentation, pain, sadness, and distress are suffering. Being attached to the unloved is suffering. Being separated from the loved one is suffering. Not getting what one wants is suffering. In short, the 5 aggregates of grasping are suffering. In short, everything is suffering. This is so hard to digest, no? But no. I enjoy with my family. I enjoy with my friends. Really, look clearly. Yeah? 5 minutes of that pleasure, really, is it really pleasure? This you will see more clearly when you come to the Samadhi's retreat and you'll reach that stage of no pain, no pleasure. It's like a calm, serene lake. Unshakable, immovable. That's how your mind is. And even if a pleasant song comes up, that's like, the ripple. You don't want even a pleasant song which you probably sang to your darling and felt very pleasant about it. A romantic song also is like a big stone thrown into that quiet lake and you feel like, yeah, even the thought of a loved one was like a big thorn in that peace. That peace was so quiet, so beautiful, so peaceful, so calm. And it just went away, just by that one thought. You yourself will experience it. And what, monks, is birth? In whatever beings, of whatever group of beings, there is birth. Coming to be, coming forth, the appearance of the aggregates, the acquisition of the sense bases. That, monks, is called birth. It's very simple. Yeah, once you come into body, then only the 5 aggregates are there. What are the 5 aggregates? Rupa, Vijnana, Sanya, Vedana, Sankhara. It's very clear, no? They come only after you come into that particular body or whichever being. And then only there are sense bases, that is birth. What is aging? In whatever beings, of whatever group of beings, there is aging, decrepitude, broken teeth, grey hair, wrinkled skin, shrinking with age, decay of the sense faculties. That, monks, is called aging. Very clear? And what is death? In whatever beings, of whatever group of beings, there is passing away, a removal, a cutting off, a disappearance, a death, a dying, an ending, a cutting off of the aggregates, a discarding of the body. That, monks, is called death. It's also self-explanatory. And what is sorrow? Whenever, by any kind of misfortune, anyone is affected by something of a painful nature, sorrow, mourning, distress, inward grief, inward woe, that, monks, is called sorrow. And what is lamentation? Whenever, by any kind of misfortune, anyone is affected by something of a painful nature, and there is crying out, lamenting, making much noise for grief, making great lamentation, that, monks, is called lamentation. And what is pain? Whatever bodily painful feeling, bodily unpleasant feeling, painful or unpleasant feeling results from bodily contact, that, monks, is called pain. This is clear, right? And what is sadness? Whatever mental painful feeling, mental unpleasant feeling, painful or unpleasant sensation results from mental contact, that, monks, is called sadness. So the difference between pain and sadness? Yeah. So in Pali, there's do manasa. Sadness, do manasa. And pain is dukkha. Dukkha is pain of the body, do manasa is pain of the mind. You understood the difference between the two paragraphs, no? Pain of the body and pain of the mind. And what is distress? Whenever, by any kind of misfortune, anyone is affected by something of a painful nature, distress, great distress, affliction with great distress, that, monks, is called distress. Same as domanasa. And what, monks, is being attached to the unloved? Here, whoever has unwanted, disliked, unpleasant sight objects, sounds, smells, tastes, tangibles, or mind objects, or whoever encounters ill wishers, wishers of harm, of discomfort, of insecurity, with whom they have concourse, intercourse, connection, union, that, monks, is called being attached to the unloved. And what is being separated from the loved? Here, whoever has what is wanted, liked, pleasant sight objects, sounds, smells, tastes, tangibles, or mind objects, or whoever encounters well-wishers, wishers of good, of comfort, of security, mother or father or brother or sister, or younger kinsmen, or friends or colleagues or blood relations, and then is deprived of such concourse, intercourse, connection, or union, that, monks, is called being separated from the loved. This is very clear? Yeah. And what is not getting what one wants? In being subject to birth, monks, this wish arises. Oh, that we were not subject to birth, that we might not come to birth. But this cannot be gained by wishing. You sometimes have this wish, no? Especially on the spiritual path, when you walk, you feel that, oh, everything is just pain. Why do we have to keep coming back into this body? Yeah. So that is the craving for non-being. Yeah. The 3 kinds of craving, we'll come to that. This is the first, craving for not being, non-being. That cannot be gained by wishing. That is not getting what one wants. In being subject to aging, to disease, to death, to sorrow, lamentation, pain, sadness, and distress, this wish arises. Oh, that we were not subject to aging, disease, death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, sadness, and distress, that we might not come to these things. But this cannot be gained by wishing. That is not getting what one wants. And how, monks, in short, are the 5 aggregates of grasping suffering? They are as follows. The aggregate of grasping, that is form. Tell me the Pali word. Rupa. The aggregate of grasping, that is feeling. Vedana. The aggregate of grasping, that is perception. Sanya. The aggregate of grasping, that is the mental formation. Sankhara. Aggregate of grasping, that is consciousness. Vijnana. These are, in short, the 5 aggregates of grasping that are suffering. And that, monks, is called the noble truth of suffering. And what, monks, is the noble truth of the origin of suffering? It is that craving which gives rise to rebirth, bound up with pleasure and lust, finding fresh delight now here, now there. That is to say, sensual craving, craving for existence and craving for non-existence. Those are the 3 types of cravings. You have sensual craving, you have craving for existence, and you have craving for non-existence. Both opposites within you. Noticed? And because of craving only, there is rebirth. If there would be no craving in you, there would be no birth. You would not be in this body. Yeah? Right now you are in the body because there is this craving to exist. A point comes when you are fully enlightened where this craving to exist dies in you. There is no more desire left to come back. There is no more desire to exist. There is just no more desire. It doesn't exist. Which means there is no more desire to even end it. Do you understand? No more desire. Period. Is this clear? That is full enlightenment. Then you don't initiate anything. Why? Because you always initiate because of craving. There is a desire. That is why initiate something. You will never initiate something. If it comes as part of the flow, yeah, you will do if it's required in that moment. If there is demand, you will supply. If there is no demand, there is no supply. Do you understand? Because there is no more craving. It's the exact opposite of what you've learned in the corporate world, na? What do you learn there? Take initiative. Be proactive. Plan ahead. Get there. Achieve your dream. Dream big. Attain a goal. Exact opposite in the teachings. Did I explain the whole paragraph to you? It gives rise to birth, which is bound up by pleasure and lust. You find fresh delight now here, now there. You notice this, no, in you? New delight here, new delight there. You got bored of the material world. Where did you start looking for delight? Spirituality. Here, this process, that. Oh, do this meditation, delight. This new course, delight. You're looking for delight, delight, delight. Are you seeing this? A point will come where delight seems like a big craving to have. And you just don't go there. And then people keep asking, why are you not going? Because the craving has died. How do I explain to you? Because your craving has not died. You just don't understand that aspect. Do you get it? That also will happen to you. The craving dies. Delight dies in you. Because everything is so peaceful, even delight is like a thorn in that peace. Yeah? It's a very high stage, but very, very, very attainable if you follow the steps given by Buddha. Yeah? That's what I find so amazing about his meditation techniques. And where does this craving arise and establish itself? Wherever in the world there is anything agreeable and pleasurable, there this craving arises and establishes itself. Yes, craving always arises when there is a pleasant feeling. Without a pleasant feeling, there is no craving. Do you get it? Yeah? Without an unpleasant feeling, there is no aversion. Very, very clear? So pleasurable leads to craving, unpleasurable leads to aversion. And what is there in the world that is agreeable and pleasurable? The eye in the world is agreeable and pleasurable. The ear in the world is agreeable and pleasurable. The nose in the world is agreeable and pleasurable. The tongue in the world is agreeable and pleasurable. The body in the world is agreeable and pleasurable. The mind in the world is agreeable and pleasurable. And there this craving arises and establishes itself. Sight, sound, smell, taste, tangible mind objects in the world are agreeable and pleasurable, and there this craving arises and establishes itself. Very, very clear? Yes, nothing to explain here. Very simple. Eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, mind consciousness in the world is agreeable and pleasurable, and there this craving arises and establishes itself. This is very clear, no? What is eye consciousness? Chakhu vinyana. Vinyana. Remember, consciousness is vinyana. Perception is sanya. Do you remember that? So, eye consciousness is what? Chakhu vinyana means what? Just cognition, the power of cognition. The eye's power of cognition is called eye consciousness. Ear's power of cognition is called ear consciousness. Did you understand? Yes. Tongue's power of cognition is called tongue consciousness. Very, very clear? Yeah. That which cognizes the data. Cognize means to recognize that there is data to be processed. It's not processing yet. It just recognizes there's data.
Just the collection.
Yeah.
So, eye consciousness arises only if there is a sight object?
Yes.
It is there.
A healthy eye and a form are required for eye consciousness to arise. The meeting of the three is called eye contact. Eye contact doesn't happen just here and here. This eye is a dead organ. It has no life in it. Do you know this? There is nothing. There's no... I cannot see. It's the eye consciousness in presence of the form and the organ eye. The meeting of all three is called eye contact. Then there is contact. Contact means you saw.
This is just an organ.
Just an organ. Very clear? Eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, mind consciousness in the world is agreeable and pleasurable. Just the cognizing of data itself is very pleasurable. Cognizing colors, cognizing sound, just cognizing tastes. Just that cognition, there is something there. There is something there. That itself is pleasurable. So, all these consciousnesses in the world is agreeable and pleasurable, and there this craving arises and establishes itself. Very clear? Eye contact, ear contact, nose contact, tongue contact, body contact, mind contact in the world is agreeable and pleasurable, and there this craving arises and establishes itself. Clear? Contact, that is where exactly you saw the object, you heard the sound, you smelled something, you tasted something, or you felt something. This is at contact that all this is happening.
Mind contact is coming from
Thought, no. Just thinking. Just that thought coming up. The first thought is an object, mind object that comes up. If I relax and smile, I'm not increasing my contact. So I'm breaking mind contact. I'm cutting off mind contact really. From that seed of karma phalam, this thought arose. This thought came up and I relaxed, smiled. I did not pay heed to the thought. So I have cut it off at mind contact. Before a thought arises, there is a little sensation. I want you to become so good in your practice that you can start recognizing the sensation before it becomes a thought. This you can see only in a quiet mind. That's why I really want you to practice and reach that stage so you can start seeing these things. It's a different kind of an ability. And the pleasure that you get from that understanding, that is the unworldly pleasure. Cannot get it from anything in this world. That which comes from my own insight. So, contact is very clear. Feeling born of eye contact, ear contact, nose contact, tongue contact, body contact, mind contact in the world is agreeable and pleasurable, and there this craving arises and establishes itself. Very clear? Yeah? Because of feeling only there is craving. It's very simple to understand feeling. Feeling leading to craving is very simple. The perception of sights, of sounds, of smells, of tastes, of tangibles, of mind objects in the world is agreeable and pleasurable, and there this craving arises and establishes itself. At Sanya, when you started processing the data, analyzing people, maroon gowns, this is perception. Yeah? So perception of color, of form, beautiful woman, handsome man, new movie. When you go out tomorrow and you see some new movies released, what happens? Perception says, wow. From perception comes the craving, I want to go and watch this movie. Yeah? Now you understood perception? Volition in regard to sight, sound, smells, taste, tangible, mind objects in the world is agreeable and pleasurable, and there this craving arises and establishes itself. What is volition? Yeah, to will is volition. To will. When you will something, only out of will can speech, action or thought be born. The first thought comes on its own. That is because of my past, whatever seed I had sown. It could be last week, but last week is also past. You sow a seed of anger in today's meditation, it came up. The first thought comes up on its own. That is not in my hands. That is not my will right now. Though my will is to meditate. But this came up because it's time for it to sprout. So the first thought is not my will. Is it in my will to continue the talk inside me about it or not? It is my will. Do you get it? If I continue, that is karma created. Very clear? Therefore, Buddha said, because volition is karma. Yeah, you will come to the Karma Sutta. He says, volition is karma. Now you started recognizing also when it is the first thought and where I have to relax and smile. So when you relax and smile, what are you doing? Not creating karma. Cutting off that cord means not even starting the creation of karma. Is this super clear? So volition in regard to sight, sound, smell, taste, tangibles, mind objects in the world is agreeable and pleasurable, and there this craving arises and establishes itself. So when that volition arises, first in you that I want to continue talking to myself, then only you start the self-talk. And that self-talk itself is craving. That's why I tell you self-talk is not normal. Now do you understand why self-talk is not normal? Very, very clear? And do you know the formula how to stop the self-talk now? The first thought, relax, smile, cut it off. The craving for sight, sound, smells, taste, tangibles, mind objects in the world is agreeable and pleasurable. And there this craving arises and establishes itself. What is this really? Perfect. Craving for craving. Did you notice this? That you have a craving to crave?
That when everything is quiet,
Right,
you
it's
want
so
to.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
That
yeah. There's a craving to crave for objects, for things, even for thought. That is why you start self-talk. Clear? Thinking of sight, sound, smell, taste, tangibles, mind objects in the world is agreeable and pleasurable, and there this craving arises and establishes itself. This is very clear to you now. Yes, crystal clear. Pondering on sight, sound, smell, taste, tangibles, and mind objects in the world is agreeable and pleasurable. And there this craving arises and establishes itself. And that, monks, is called the noble truth of the origin of suffering. And what, monks, is the noble truth of the cessation of suffering? It is the complete fading away and extinction of this craving. It's forsaking and abandonment, liberation from it, detachment from it. And how does this craving come to be abandoned? How does its cessation come about? Wherever in the world there is anything agreeable and pleasurable, there its cessation comes about. And what is there in the world that is agreeable and pleasurable? Everything from the beginning. Yeah, the I in the world, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. The world is agreeable and pleasurable, and there this craving comes to be abandoned. There its cessation comes about. So how does cessation happen? By abandoning the craving. What is abandoning the craving? What is the meaning of abandoning? How do you do it? Relax and smile. Gets abandoned. It gets cut off. You have to make that effort to abandon it. Yeah? Previous batch, U3SR. The previous batch, equanimity and non-reaction. Eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, mind consciousness in the world is agreeable and pleasurable, and there this craving comes to be abandoned. There its cessation comes about. Wherever it gets abandoned, there the cessation happens. Abandon, cessation. Abandon, cessation. So the answer is where it can be abandoned. And the way it can be abandoned, you know. Yeah. Sight, sound, smell, taste, tangibles, mind objects in the world are agreeable and pleasurable, and there this craving comes to be abandoned. There its cessation comes about. Eye contact, ear contact, nose contact, tongue contact, body contact, mind contact. Perception of sight, sound, smell, taste, tangibles, mind objects. Volition in regard to sight, sound, smell, taste, tangibles, mind objects. Craving for sight, sound, smell, taste, tangible, mind objects. Thinking of sight, sound, smell, taste, tangible, mind objects. Pondering on sight, sound, smell, taste, tangible, and mind object in the world is agreeable and pleasurable, and there this craving comes to an end. There its cessation comes about. And that, monks, is called the noble truth of the cessation of craving.
How is volition involved in this type of thing?
So you are cutting off volition. Remember I told you when you relax and smile, you are cutting off the volition to do the self-talk. So the moment you abandon volition, cessation happens. Yeah, abandonment of volition. Abandonment of
Volition is sankhara, right? Or that's the difference.
volition is to will. To will. हिंदी में बोलो,
चाह, करने की चाह.
करने की चाह, सोचने की चाह, बोलने की चाह. Chaha. Okay. And what, monks, is the noble truth of the way of practice leading to the cessation of suffering? Means magga, the path. What is the path leading to the cessation of suffering? It is just this noble eightfold path, namely right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. You can substitute the word right with wholesome. Yeah? And concentration substitute with collectedness. And what, monks, is right view? It is, monks, the knowledge of suffering, the knowledge of the origin of suffering, the knowledge of the cessation of suffering, and the knowledge of the way of practice leading to the cessation of suffering. This is called right view. What is knowledge of suffering? What is suffering? This going on in my mind, this repeated thought pattern going on in my mind. This is dukkha. And when I have this knowledge, I have the right view. Till now, did you have the right view? What did you think? Oh, me not getting the desired salary is dukkha. Or me not getting the life partner I wished for is dukkha. Or me not getting this particular opportunity or that opportunity is dukkha. Is that correct? Me keeping going round and round in my head about these things in my life, that is dukkha. Can you stop these things from happening? These things will happen because of my cause and effect. They are going to happen. I cannot change them. So what really is dukkha? This in the mind, this broken record going on and on and on and on about them. This will never change. This is going to happen according to my previous flow. I will not be able to change my current flow because it's coming from my previous seeds. Those seeds will sprout in a particular manner. Unnecessary me cribbing about how my reality is not going to change my reality. What do I have to change? What is really the suffering? My cribbing pattern is the suffering. Is this very clear? When this becomes clear, this knowledge becomes clear, then I have right view. What is the knowledge of the origin of suffering? It's my craving only. So I recognize, okay, this going on pattern is suffering. But then also, after understanding this, I can still blame that this is going on because of external people, situations, things. And we do that, no? So is the first step sufficient? No. Now I have to figure out what is the origin. It's not external people, situations, things. It's my craving that the external people, situations, things should be like this and not like this. Got it? So my craving is the origin of suffering. When this knowledge is very clear to me, then I have the right view. If I say other people are the origin of my suffering, then this is wrong view. Yeah? You were there, no? Once upon a time, long ago. When you said these people are the cause of my suffering, this person is the cause of my suffering, this job is the cause of my suffering, this boss is the cause of my suffering. Now you know, it's my craving for something other than what my reality is. This craving is the cause of suffering. What a perspective shift happens. Yeah? When this shift happens, then you have samadhiti, right view. Knowledge of the cessation of suffering. How will it cease now that I know? This craving has to be abandoned. That is the only way this can cease. People don't need to be abandoned. Situations don't need to be abandoned. Do you get it? Running away from people, situations and things, will that resolve your problem? Your mind is going with you. Wherever you go to the forest, your mind goes with you. Running away is not the solution. Okay. And the knowledge of the way of practice leading to the cessation of suffering. What knowledge? What is the path leading to the cessation of suffering? I have recognized my mind is my suffering. In my mind, what is the cause? The craving is the cause of the suffering. How will it cease? By ceasing this craving, it will cease. So now, how do I cease this craving? First, I recognize where did this craving begin. Oh, it is my greed, or it is my hatred, or it is my delusion. That's where all this began. Yeah, I have to understand, how my craving began. So I was not wholesome. That's where it began, in an unwholesome state. So what do I need to first do? Be wholesome. That's the first 3. Now when I become wholesome, is that sufficient? Oh, but by becoming wholesome, I can't change the previous seed from sprouting, and then I have this habit of self-talk. So what do? I can get into the self-talk with that seed sprouting from my unwholesomeness from the past. So what do? I learn meditation techniques with the right effort to cut off this first thought when it comes. With samadhi, that is right effort, right mindfulness and right collectedness. And then the final product, the out product or the side product of that is the right view in life. Everything starts falling into the correct place. I don't see things through colored glasses. I see things as they are. So right view happens and right thought happens. Yes, insight starts happening. My own knowledge starts coming up. Understood? Without these technical words also it makes sense. And what, monks, is right thought? The thought of renunciation, the thought of non-ill will, the thought of harmlessness. This, monks, is right thought. Yeah, renunciation means giving up everything, going to the jungle. Renunciation of that craving to think, the craving to do, the craving to speak. That is renunciation. You enjoy thinking, have you noticed that? You like to think, and that is why you are not able to cut the cord with relax and smile. Yes, cut it off, cut it off, cut it off. Renunciation is the way. If you don't renounce the greed to analyze, the greed to figure out, how much will you figure out? Beyond a point, it's all experience. Then you will only become an obstacle in your experience. Yeah? Your over-analysis in meditation becomes an obstacle in meditation, preventing you from going to quiet mind. How many of you have experienced this? Your own analysis becomes that obstacle. It will prevent you from going to the quiet mind. You'll only be stuck at sensations forever. Quiet mind will not happen because quiet mind needs no analysis, no words, no sound. Because it is quiet. Are you understanding this? So there's only till a point that your analysis can take you. After that, you have to let it go. Thought of renunciation is clear? Renouncing the craving. Renouncing the craving is very important. Yeah, the craving for analysis. Then the thought of non-ill will. If you have ill will, what happens?
Aversion.
Yeah, there is aversion. So, how am I unwholesome? I'm thinking bad about him, not about me. How am I poisoning?
Cycle.
Pinch. It keeps pinching inside. Everything I think negative about the other person, it's pinching me. Don't forget the pinch. That is the main thing. The pinch or the pang or the punch. That is the main thing. You get it? Practicing to get out of that is practicing non-ill will. Yeah? And the thought of harmlessness. Let me not harm anybody or anything. And you harm with your speech a lot. Do you know that? Yeah? So let's take this vow. I will not harm anybody, come what may, with my speech. At least start with, I will not harm somebody with my speech. Then let it extend on its own. It will happen. And what, monks, is right speech? Refraining from lying, refraining from slander, refraining from harsh speech, refraining from frivolous speech. This is called right speech. Slander, you understand, no? Yeah? Saying bad things about another person. Yeah? Harsh speech, you understand? Frivolous speech, you understand? Just talking for the sake of talking, idle chatter. How are you? Where are you going? Where did you buy that dress? You don't care for that dress really. Can I also go there and buy? For how much was it? You're really not going to go all the way to India to that particular bazaar and buy that dress, but you still had that nonsense conversation. Frivolous conversation, frivolous speech. Yeah, I tell you, I'm from Germany. You know, I went to France. How is it connected? Two different countries. How is it relevant? You asked me a question, where am I from? I answered you, I'm from Germany. Khatam. Period. I went to France. Then this happened. Then that happened. I faced all this. Did you face it? What have you gone into? Was this required? Are you seeing what I'm saying? Wake up, wake up. See, what are you talking? What are you saying? Is there a purpose? Is there a need? Is this required in this moment? Yeah? Idle chatter? Let's drop it. This is called frivolous talk. Yeah? Be very, very clear. No frivolous talk. That which does not contribute to my growth, that which is not useful for me or is not beneficial for the other person, I am not going to utter it. Yes? That is why you have so much self-talk. More than half of your self-talk is nonsense. Utter nonsense going on in your head. You harm yourself more than the others. Yeah? And then you say, now I want to come out of this repeated talking. pattern, how will you come out? You want this also, you want this also. Isn't it true? You say, no, I'll keep my self-talk also, now you give me the peace also. I want noise also, and you give me silence also. कैसे होगा यार? You're asking for two opposite things together. Wake up, wake up, wake up. No technique in the world exists where both things are present. Noise and silence cannot exist together. You become clear about this. Yes? And stop. Yeah? First you stop the frivolous talk with your own self. It will stop outside very easily. Before you ask that frivolous question, when you broke your silence, you actually said it to yourself. Because you have a practice of rehearsing. You don't come from quiet mind. So actually you get a chance to see what you are going to say. Stop it there itself. Is this required? Do I really need to do this? Is it going to benefit me or this other person? Reduce that frivolous talk. Reduce that self-talk. Automatically you will dive into silence. And once you dive, then you cannot come back to self-talk. It's a crime. It feels like a crime. Now make an effort in that direction. Become quieter and quieter and quieter. Yeah. Okay. And what, monks, is right action? Refraining from taking life. Refraining from taking what is not given. Refraining from sexual misconduct. This is called right action. This is simple. And what, monks, is right livelihood? Here, monks, the Aryan disciple, having given up wrong livelihood, keeps himself by right livelihood. The way to a right livelihood is by giving up a wrong livelihood. And what, monks, is right effort? Here, monks, a monk rouses his will, makes an effort, stirs up energy, exerts his mind, and strives to prevent the arising of unarisen, evil, unwholesome mental states. I'm mindful, I'm mindful, I'm mindful, I'm staying with my wholesome state. And if an unwholesome comes up, I recognize my mindfulness is there. That's the first one. Yeah. Then he rouses his will, makes an effort, stirs up energy, exerts his mind, and strives to overcome evil, unwholesome states that have arisen. Yeah. So you relax the meninges. Yeah. So you made an effort to cut off that unwholesome state. He rouses his will, makes an effort, stirs up energy, exerts his mind, and strives to produce unarisen, wholesome mental states. What did you do? You brought up the smile. And he rouses his will, makes an effort, stirs up energy, exerts his mind, and strives to maintain wholesome mental states that have arisen, not to let them fade away, to bring them to greater growth, to the full perfection of development. What is this fourth? Repeat. Yeah? You keep repeating. Be consistent in relaxing and smiling. This is called right effort. And what, monks, is right mindfulness? Here, monks, a monk abides observing body as body, ardent, clearly aware and mindful, having put aside hankering and fretting for the world. What is this? Kayanu Paschana. What does this come under? Right mindfulness. He abides observing feelings as feelings. What is that?
Sensations.
Vedananu Paschana. He abides observing mind as mind. What is that? Chittanupashyana, and he abides observing mind objects as mind objects. Dhammanupashyana, ardent, clearly aware and mindful, having put aside hankering and fretting for the world. This is called right mindfulness. And what, monks, is right collectedness? Here, a monk detached from sense desires, detached from unwholesome mental states, enters and remains in the first jhana, which is with thinking and pondering, born of detachment, filled with delight and joy. Juniors, just keep it in parking lot. Next retreat, you will get here. And with the subsiding of thinking and pondering, by gaining inner tranquility and oneness of mind, he enters and remains in the second jhana, which is without thinking and pondering, born of collectedness, filled with delight and joy. And with the fading away of delight, remaining imperturbable, mindful and clearly aware, he experiences in himself the joy of which the noble ones say, "Happy is he who dwells with equanimity and mindfulness." He enters the third jhana. And having given up pleasure and pain, and with the disappearance of former gladness and sadness, he enters and remains in the fourth jhana, which is beyond pleasure and pain and is purified by equanimity and mindfulness. This is called right collectedness, and that, monks, is called the way of practice leading to the cessation of suffering. Jhana is the Pali word for the Sanskrit word dhyana.
So we already started.
It'll come under right samadhi. You'll start in the next to next retreat. So this you keep in the parking lot. Right now I don't understand this. That's okay. I don't want you to understand in words. Intellectually does not make sense. Experientially I'll take you through all the jhanas. And the fourth jhana has 4 under it. So there are total 8 jhanas. You'll go through all of them in one only retreat. Don't worry. Yeah? And there is one 9th one also. We'll get there. We'll get there. Insight. Yeah? So he abides observing mind objects as mind objects internally, observing mind objects as mind objects externally, observing mind objects as mind objects both internally and externally. He abides observing arising phenomena in mind objects. He abides observing vanishing phenomena in mind objects. He abides observing both arising and vanishing phenomena in mind objects. Did you notice that? In your thoughts, emotions, they arise and they pass away. They arise and they pass away. Were you aware? If you were not, put it down. I have to be aware. See, they come on their own, they go away. They come, they go away. Yeah? They are impermanent, anicca. We learn these words as you go. Anicca is impermanent, changing, anicca. Or else, mindfulness that there are mind objects is present just to the extent necessary for knowledge and awareness. Means he knows, oh, there is hatred right now. Oh, there is aversion right now. There is restlessness right now. He just knows. Just enough knowledge to become aware. That's it. Not to go into story. Oh, there is hatred because of this. He said this, then I did this, then this happened. That is story. Yeah, that is why this is very important. Just to the extent necessary for knowledge and awareness. Very clear? Yeah. And he abides detached, not grasping at anything in the world. And that, monks, is how a monk abides observing mind objects as mind objects in respect of the 4 noble truths. conclusion. Okay. Again, take this with a pinch of salt. Yes? Because right now it is not your experience again. Okay? Whoever monk should practice these 4 foundations of mindfulness for just 7 years may expect one of 2 results. Either arahantship in this life, or if there should be some substrate left, substrate means craving left, the state of a non-returner. What is arahantship? Fully enlightened. So that means you'll become fully enlightened in 7 years.
That was the timeline at that time.
Yeah? In 7 years you can attain full enlightenment if you follow this path. Okay? Or if there is little bit of craving left, you will be a non-returner, which is anagami. If there's little bit, yeah, with craving left, you will be anagami. Non-returner means you won't return to this physical plane of existence. You won't get a physical body. You will be born in a higher realm just for one lifetime, and then you will get enlightened. So you're a non-returner means you're not returning to this cycle of birth and death of physical world. There are levels in enlightenment. So the fully enlightened level is called Arahant. Under that, any level is not fully enlightened. So you're asking me what is non-returner, no? Non-returner means anagami. He still has a little bit of craving left. Little bit. Let alone 7 years. Whoever should practice them for just 6 years, 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, 1 year may expect one of 2 results. Go back up. Either arahantship in this life, or if there should be some substrate left, means some craving left, the state of a non-returner. And then let alone 1 year. Whoever should practice them for just 7 months, 6 months, 5 months, 4 months, 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, half a month may expect one of the 2 results. Either arahantship in this life, or the state of a non-returner. So even if for 1 week you practice Satipatthana, you can get fully enlightened. Within a week you can attain arahantship in this life. Yeah? Or if there is some substrate left, the state of a non-returner. It was said, there is monks this one way to the purification of beings, for the overcoming of sorrow and distress, for the disappearance of pain and sadness, for the gaining of the right path, for the realization of Nibbana. That is to say, the 4 foundations of mindfulness. What are the 4? Quickly. Kayanupasthana, Vedananupasthana, Chittanupasthana and Dhammanupasthana. And it is for this reason that it was said, thus the Lord spoke, and the monks rejoiced and were delighted at his words. Finally, that completes Mahasatipatthana Sutta.